everyone. I'm Edward Beltran, the CEO of Fierce Inc. And today we're here to explore the Pulse experience, which is based on coaching that utilizes our Pulse app that starts with biometric feedback to really get underneath what it is that you're facing in your day-to-day. And today I'm joined by Chantell Brandt.
Hi. All relationships and every person within them has needs, and yet we often don't share what those needs are, as if it's taboo to talk about. In emotional intelligence, the anatomy of a relationship is really a needs analysis. It effectively helps you manage a relationship. There are emotional needs that must be met in order for a relationship to thrive. Your needs speak to that self-awareness, and we highlight self-awareness with the Pulse, and it's so important. It also speaks to self-management. That other person's needs is this social management, and then what does the situation or the relationship require? The relationship management side of the house.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're going to digest the anatomy of a relationship. This was a fairly new concept until I learned more about it from you, Chantell. So let's dive into this. What was your coachee dealing with? Tell us about their day-to-day. What was happening?
Sure. Relationships are often the origin of much of our stress. And this episode's coachee is going to tell us a lot. We're going to hear from a mother of now adult children who, during her life, she's been a mother, a mediator, a protector, and every other role we play as parents. Now she needed the relationship and with her children to evolve.
Wow. I think there's so many people that can identify with this, mothers and fathers alike, Chantell. So what was showing up for her? Like, what was she experiencing? Tell me a little bit more about what her challenges were.
Well, honestly, to start off, let's talk about what she was experiencing from stress. Those physiological needs, that unspoken, unaddressed needs manifest themselves. And when we ignore them, they really can steal our joy. I want you to take a listen here.
Like, am I just so used to this that I don't even recognize that it's stressing me out? I'm paying the price of my own peace of mind.
Ed, that speaks to exactly what we are dealing with here. In all of the other places in her life, she had done the work of placing healthy boundaries around her relationships. And this was the last relationships that she had to work on, those with her girls. Now that they were adults, she wanted to understand, why was she continuing this pattern of parenting that she had when they were little? By the end of the session, we were dissecting that anatomy of their relationship, and we saw an immediate decrease of her stress levels by approximately 11%.
Oh, wow. That's absolutely incredible. So the anatomy of a relationship, it's something that we don't typically think about. I know I didn't until I saw the framework. And so it's so interesting when you think about how you interact with people in your life, both personal and work life, from a strategic perspective, right? For lack of a better term, right? But it's, communication, it's trust, it's intimacy and boundaries. And so this is a really interesting scenario with your coachee. And I know you pulled back the layers, and let's talk more about it. How did you go about this, Chantell? Let's start a little bit with the with her as a person, and then let's pull back the layers.
Absolutely. She has an amazing life. However, we discovered together that this closeness had been coupled with her own fear of rejection, creating a codependency. And honestly, the reason for the stress she was feeling around that relationship.
Wow. So codependency and fear of rejection. So let's analyze this a little bit more. How did you get to that? So she's experiencing like stress. She's not able to achieve the objectives that she wants in her life. How did you provide Pulse to help her get underneath these issues specifically? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Pulse app categorizes that stress into 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4, based off the distribution of your own baseline. And it granulates around where you're at and who you're with within that hour. As we met, my client had been able to utilize the app for 3 weeks. At minimum 2 is the standard, right? And so we were able to identify and tag and explore the possible patterns of her stress. We started with a clearing exercise to really just help remove any of the ancillary thoughts that go running in the background for us. And this helped her to be prepared to be here and nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It also helped to decipher what was the most important thing we should be spending our time on. Now, during this time, the stressors really started to bubble up. During the session, we discovered her deep-seated fear of rejection, and that was the root cause of her hesitancy in not putting healthy boundaries in place with her children. She really just was struggling because when she was not available to them, or she wanted to give to herself, for example, that walk, across Spain, there's a deep sense of guilt for putting herself first. And and we can all experience that. Like when we go do something for ourselves, we're like, wait, shouldn't we be? And her children are adults, right? Mm-hmm. So when she's faced with that guilt and the possible rejection in her mind, she would then just back down and comply with their needs, putting herself in the background, which was really physically and mentally exhausting. As a parent, I can identify, but go ahead.
No, totally, Chantell. So let me make sure I fully understand. So the Pulse app helped her identify that whenever she interacted with her children or thought about her children, or from what you're saying, that kind of guilt, like, am I putting myself first? How are my adult children doing? She's seeing the spikes. Is that correct?
Yeah. And it wasn't every time she interacted with the children. It was when they were calling her in for their needs, to settle dispute amongst each other, to, help out, to be there for the start of their business, the start of their lives, and setting aside what she needed to do for herself.
She's caught up in this. What you're describing is this triangulation between
Absolutely.
her children. You said she's in the middle of disputes. Wow, that's a very interesting role for her to play, and I can understand that, as well as from what you're saying, her children call, she's like probably high anxiety, like, okay, what's this? What's next, right? Yes, oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, 2 of them are twins. She has 3 daughters. The 2 twins live in Maui. She lives in Michigan along with her oldest daughter. So there's just a lot of dynamics that are going on, and trying to be physically present for all of them was a struggle. Add to that this went to a deeper level for her, because if she couldn't play those roles, would they leave her? That's the voice on her shoulder, that's what it was saying to her. We had to really work through her resistance to this change, which was fear.
Wow, that is so incredible, Chantell. Like, and something that I think many people can identify with. So tell me, so the biometrics help her identify when her body's reacting to something, right? Our bodies, they don't lie, right? And you're helping her get this self-awareness behind it, which is this fear of rejection from what you're describing from, way back, maybe her childhood potentially, but now she's carried it into the dynamics of her adult children and the role that she's playing. So this is so intriguing, Chantell. So walk me through the magic that you deployed in your session. How did you move her then to action? What was the remediation? What did she do to tackle these challenges that she now identified?
Sure. On a conscious level, she knew that her emotional capital had been depleted, and that the kids were taking these constant withdrawals, and she couldn't fill her bucket up fast enough in order to get what she needed and to be who she was and who she wanted to be. I asked her, what role did she play? it is important in a coaching conversation to really hold that accountability for yourself. And how did you get to this spot? Because that helps us to remove the layers and how to fix it, right?
Mhm.
Take a listen to what she said. It's profound.
Oh, I designed it. I designed the entire relationship. I think somewhere along the line early on, I felt that I got great satisfaction from being needed and so intertwined in the fabric of their lives. And that was very unhealthy from the beginning. Some of it was very genuine and healthy, and then it crosses the line of that not being the case. And so I developed the codependency.
I mean, that says it all right there, right? She already knew the role she had played in getting to this place. However, now it was getting her to, what did she not know? You know, she had never really sat down and intentionally thought about what her needs are. And, you know, what were her non negotiables in life and in these relationships? That accountability for self is so important. And, you know, she had also painted a narrative about her children. You know, as we all do with people, we fill in the blanks, you know, what their needs are and, you know, what they expected from her, the roles that she was supposed to play. Yet she had never really asked them their perspective. You
Mhm.
know, the interesting thing about this uncertainty is that we fill in the answers. You know, we fill in the blanks and we don't usually fill them in with rainbows and lollipops. We go to the worst case scenario. And in her case, that worst case scenario was rejection.
Yeah. So again, yeah, that's just incredible. And just her being able to describe, I created this, like that realization is so like powerful, that self-awareness, Chantell. And like you said, she knew it was there, right? But the articulation or the acknowledgement was that first big step. So awesome job, Chantell. So where do you go from here? How do you move her then into how to remediate, how to tackle this?
Sure. You know, I emphasize the importance of addressing the elephant in the room. You know, at Pierce, we use the Papuan term mokita, that which everyone knows and nobody speaks of. You know, there was a conversation that needed to be had. And so we started designing that anatomy of a relationship by listing out her needs. You know, she listed out her non negotiables and then committed to having a conversation with her children to determine what did they know about her? You know, what was true from their perspective, the good, the bad, and then what were their needs? And finally, what were the needs of the relationship? You know, and when we were done designing this, just the realization of knowing what she needed to do caused that approximate drop that I spoke about earlier of 11% in stress levels.
Wow.
And it is amazing. It is amazing. And since then, it's continued to decrease as she's having these ongoing conversations with them.
Wow, that is so incredible, Chantel. And so it's sounding like just like that awareness piece gives you relief, but it also gives you the clarity and the confidence to do something about it. And a lot of times, what you're highlighting is it's conversation with self and
Yeah.
others, in this case, her children. So I do have a question for you, Chantel. If she didn't make this change, how would that have impacted her? What would have happened to her?
Yeah. And, you know, inevitably, if we don't make a change, life makes a change for you, right? But it's
Right.
normally not the one that you wanted or had helped to design. You know, you become a kind of a hostage to whatever's taking place. This helps put her in the driver's seat to what she wanted and what the
Yeah.
children want out of the relationship, right? It's amazing because that deterioration would have continued. She would have definitely seen a gradual then suddenly process. You know, resentment pick up, the loss of her own dreams. Nobody wants their dreams to go away. You know, you want to accomplish the things that you've set out for yourself, your purpose in life. And for her, you know, that's where it came to. And I'm with all of us, that's where it comes to, you know, and if
Hmm.
that isn't met, it adds to the stress. It adds to the disenchantment with life and with the relationships.
Totally. And so let me guess. So the story she was telling herself ended up not being real. She put the boundaries in place that you helped her come to, and everybody was great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's that's so.
It is so amazing. Like, how long has she been carrying this load that she didn't have to carry? And I think that is the brilliance of Pulse and what we're doing here, right? It's taking coaching and it's adding data and it's helping us to get to the root cause sooner, so that we can alleviate some of these stressors that we carry on like bags of rocks on our back. She's now in Maui. Her one of the twins had, is living life, ready to have a baby, and she's there with all of the best intentions, with none of that baggage, and fully prepared to be there and nowhere else.
So Chantell, that's just absolutely incredible, and I just want to thank you for that. So just to underscore the power of what happened here, she had many years of codependency, a situation she created that prevented her from reaching her own personal goals. And in one 90-minute coaching session, after a few weeks of biometric measurement, you were able to move her into this direction, correct?
Absolutely. And well, this is the thing. That 1 minute session, she's still utilizing the app, right? So she is still, but she's now aware, and now has the tools available to say, hold on, what's happening? How do I address? And really showing up in those conversations different than she had in the past.
That is so great. So the awareness, understanding this is an interpersonal situation with their children, being able to step back and analyze the anatomy of the relationship, which you highlighted here. So that's just great. Chantell, I just want to thank you, and I want to thank our listeners today. If you'd like to go through the Pulse experience, please click on the link in the description. And right now we're offering for our early listeners a discount. Please put in the Pulse experience 01. Again, the Pulse experience 01, and we'd be happy to take you through the Pulse experience. Chantell, thank you again, and thank you, listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you.